All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to be talking about a car that's way more than just a new set of wheels. It's a really smart move in a massive global chess game. We are talking about the Deepal S05, the new electric SUV from the Chinese auto giant Changan.
So to really get what the S05 is all about, you've got to understand the world it's being born into. The global EV market, it's not just competitive. It's a brutal high-stakes fight where billions of dollars are on the line. Every single new car is like a soldier being sent to the front.
And that really brings us to the big question for this explainer. In a market this packed, with giants and hungry startups everywhere you look, how does a new player like the Deepal S05 plan to do more than just survive? How does it plan to actually win? Well, as it turns out, Changan has a plan with a few different parts to it.
And that plan? It kicks off with a massive statement of purpose. This is no small-time experiment. This is a global declaration of intent, and it's backed by some serious industrial power and a whole lot of cash.
It all starts right here, with this number, a massive 1.9 billion yuan. That's how much Changan has poured into its brand-spanking new factory in Rayong, Thailand. And they're not just building a factory, they're building a global launchpad. Now this quote here, it really peels back the layers on a super clever strategy. See, while they're calling it an initiative for Thailand, the factory's real purpose is global. It's a strategic hub, built to make right-hand drive models and then ship them directly to places like Europe. They're basically creating a whole new supply chain.
And let's be real for a second. Changan is no startup. The very first S05 rolled off the line right as the company was celebrating its 30 times millionth vehicle produced. That kind of industrial weight gives them what the source material calls a trust dividend. So what's that mean for you? Well, it's basically a promise that this car is built on a solid foundation of manufacturing know-how, not just some cool tech prototype. Okay, so we've established the industrial muscle behind this thing. Now let's look at Changan's first weapon, the car itself, and how it's been engineered from the ground up to make a powerful first impression. In the world of EVs, how a car cuts through the air isn't just about looking cool. It's everything for your range. The S05 has a drag coefficient of just 0.25. To give you some context, a lot of other compact SUVs are way up over 0.30. This isn't just a happy accident. It's what Changan calls aesthetic engineering, where every single curve has a job to do.
And it's the little things here that really add up. The interstellar wing design gives it that futuristic look, sure, but features like the frameless doors and hidden handles, they're also there to cut down on wind noise. The engineering goes even deeper, with 5mm thick glass that keeps the cabin incredibly quiet. We're talking just 62 decibels when you're doing 100 kilometers an hour. And check this number out, because it says a lot about practicality. The S05 gives you a 152-liter front trunk, or frunk. That is a huge, best-in-class advantage for storage that many of its competitors just don't have. All right, so the outside is slick, but Changan knows the real fight is happening inside the car these days. It's all about turning the cockpit into what they're calling an intelligent playground. And the centerpiece of that playground is this huge 15.4-inch rotating sunflower screen. Think about it. It can face you when you're driving or swing over to your passenger if they want to pick some music. And powering it all is the industry gold standard Snapdragon 8155 chip, making sure everything is super smooth, super fast, and all running on Deepal's own slick operating system. But this playground idea doesn't stop at the car door. With something called vehicle-to-load, or V2L, the S05 literally becomes a 6-kilowatt mobile power station. This ties right into that eco-explorer lifestyle Changan is aiming for. You can literally power a campsite, or like they say, an entire outdoor movie night, right from your car's battery. So, we've got a global plan, a slick design, and some seriously advanced tech. But Changan knew they had to solve the two biggest fears every EV buyer has. How does it perform in the real world when things get tough? And what about that dreaded range anxiety? So that brings up the million-dollar question, right? It's one thing to look great on a spec sheet, but how does the S05 actually handle itself when the rubber meets the road? Or, in this case, when it meets a sheet of ice? To answer that, Changan did something pretty cool. They took the S05 to the icy slopes of Cormier in Italy, and they handed the keys to Italian ski champion Deborah Compagnoni. And her takeaway? She was blown away by how easily the car drove on these super slick surfaces without ever losing its grip. I mean, that's a pretty powerful endorsement. So how does it do that? Well, it's all about smart software.
Pop it in snow mode, and the car's brain prioritizes stability above all else. In normal mode, it lets you have a little more fun while still keeping you safe. But here's the really cool part. Even with all the safety nets turned off, the car's perfect 50-50 weight balance makes it feel natural and predictable to drive.
Now, for the ultimate weapon against range anxiety, choice. You can get the S05 as a pure battery electric vehicle, a BEV, with almost 500 kilometers of range. Or, and this is a big deal, you can get it as a range-extended EV, a REV. This version has a tiny gas generator that acts like a backup power plant, giving you a total range of over 1,000 kilometers. It's the perfect bridge for places where chargers are still hard to find.
And for those times you do need to find a plug, get this. The S05 can fast charge from 30% to 80% in just 15 minutes. That's basically the time it takes to run in, grab a coffee, and get back on the road. It makes long trips a total non-issue. So when you add it all up, the global strategy, the sharp engineering, the real-world performance, and the flexible tech, you start to see that Changan isn't just trying to play the game. They're trying to change the rules. They're trying to move the finish line.
What this all means is that when it goes head-to-head with rivals from BYD and Geely, the S05 walks into that fight with some serious advantages. Having two powertrain options is a huge deal. That rotating screen is arguably a better interface. Its charging speed is at the top of its class, and it wraps all of these premium features into a package that's actually accessible.
Which really brings us to the big takeaway here. The Deepal S05 isn't just an impressive car, it's a strategy on wheels. It's a declaration from a company that's been kind of a quiet giant, and now it's telling the world it's ready to be a loud and disruptive global player.
Changan is basically saying they've just redefined what a car in this category should be. They believe they've moved the finish line. So the question I really want to leave you with is this. In this crazy competitive race, who's going to be able to keep up?
Hey, thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. We really hope this breakdown of the Deepal S05 gave you a clearer look at this important new player in the global EV market. We'll see you on the next one.